After Justin Jefferson did not get extended ahead of Week 1 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this photo was seen of him after the game looking visibly frustrated, rightfully so. Justin Jefferson went for 138 yards in the first half, only got targeted 3 times in the second half for a total of 12 yards, and this dude's a competitor, and he was pissed after the loss, and this concerns me a little bit about his long-term future in Minnesota because I really do think and maybe Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah might have messed this up. But before we get into today's show, I want to give you guys this quote that Justin Jefferson had after the game following the loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He said this when asked about not getting extended. He said, "I have the same mindset as I had before. At the end of the day, all I can do is play football. And that's what I continue to do. I know my team. My team doesn't care about the contract, and I don't either. I just want to be here for my teammates, play for my teammates, and, of course, get these wins." I'll say this right now, Kwesi, you 100% messed this up. He should have been extended before this season started, and I can't think of a single reason to not extend him. Number one, just the overall mojo and the vibes in the locker room would have been way higher. Now I think there's this sort of cloud hanging around the Minnesota Vikings where it's like, why wasn't 18 extended? He had the most yards in his first 3 seasons in NFL receiving history, and you don't extend him. On the financial side of things, Jamar Chase is going to get extended next year. We all know with the salary cap going up and the hard cap going up in the NFL, players are going to just naturally get paid more over the progressing years. So why wouldn't you try to beat guys like Jamar Chase in getting an extension? Because if Jamar gets extended before Justin Jefferson, what is he going to say? He's going to be like, no, I deserve to get paid more than that guy, so it's just going to run your books a little more. I think Kwesi completely messed this situation up, and I'm not saying that the reason why the Vikings lost yesterday's game was because Jefferson did not get extended. No, I'm not saying that whatsoever, but maybe it had a minimal impact on just the overall vibes and continuity amongst this Vikings team. I just think it was an absolute blunder, and I think there was no reason for the Vikings not to get this contract extension done, and it pisses me off, and I just really can't believe it. But before we dive into overreactions on this Overreaction Monday following a very depressing loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we're also diving into the latest around Dalton Risner, as it looks like he wants to be a Minnesota Vikings. I got to ask you one question. Should the Vikings have extended Justin Jefferson? This will be the pinned comment on today's video. Give me a Y for yes, or give me an N for no. Welcome to the Vikings Now. My name is Patrick Siepman. Today's show, we are going to be overreacting to the Vikings' embarrassing, I'll say that again, embarrassing 20-17 loss over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to be going over my top overreactions from this ball game. And then on the second half of today's video, Dalton Risner liked a very interesting tweet about playing for the Minnesota Vikings, and we could definitely use him because my number one overreaction is this interior offensive line is bad. It is bad again. How many years in a row has it been as Minnesota Vikings fans where we are staring at this interior of this offensive line and saying, when is it going to get better? Because they have put in multiple draft picks. They have spent a first-round pick on Garrett Bradbury, a second-round pick on Ezra Cleveland, and last year's second-round pick, Ed Ingram, he again played awful. Last year for the Vikings, he let up 11 sacks in 17 games played, and I said, you know what, maybe we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He was a rookie going through that rookie roller coaster that we've seen so many times. I get it, but he looked terrible in the first preseason game against the Seattle Seahawks. He looked terrible yet again yesterday. He was the main reason for why Kirk Cousins fumbled the football, as he is a pulling guard, runs into Kirk Cousins' arms. Kirk drops the football in Tampa Bay territory, and the Buccaneers are going the other way. I think this experiment is over with Ed Ingram, and I am pounding this table. Kwesi, if you are serious about winning football games this upcoming year, sign Dalton Risner or get somebody else in there to play over Ed Ingram. And I'll tell you what, the answer, it's not Oli Udoh, Kwesi. On the Garrett Bradbury, another concerning injury update we had here. We really have no update from where the game left off yesterday with his back injury, but he did leave the game with a back injury, and that's just incredibly concerning. Obviously, an offensive lineman, if you're dealing with a back issue, that is going to bother you even if you are out on the football field. And with the Philadelphia Eagles coming up this Thursday, I don't know if Garrett Bradbury, if it's the right decision to roll him out there, because Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, and the boys, they are going to dominate this interior offensive line. So without Garrett Bradbury and possibly Austin Schlottman stepping into that unit next to Ed Ingram, man, the Vikings are going to have their hands full this Thursday against the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 2 for me, Kevin O'Connell. Never thought I'd be saying this week 1, but I thought he had probably his worst game calling plays since taking over as head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. And I know he's not on the hot seat. I just put this in there, maybe grab you guys' attention a little bit. But no, he's not in the hot seat just yet. But at the end of the year, if the Vikings go through and struggle this season, he could be. Because we saw Matt Nagy get fired after winning Coach of the Year. We saw Kevin Stefanski this year. He's on the hot seat as well. It's a very kind of turn-the-page league in the NFL, and it's always about what have you done for me lately. And I thought yesterday, he got absolutely too cute. And I think 2 plays really stood out the most to me. It was the tight end screens. The 2 most important drives of the game were when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the second half, they went down and they had a game-winning field goal at the time to make the score the 20-17, and this man, Kevin O'Connell, calls up back-to-back tight end screens for negative losses. I thought that was just an awful play call. I thought that was trying to get way too cute and get 87 the football. How about you go get 18 the football? How about you go get Justin Jefferson the ball, the dude who went over 138 yards in the first half, and you only target him 3 times in the second half? Stop trying to force feed the highest paid tight end in the league, and how about you get the ball to the best damn player on the football field? And I will say this. I think the jury, as I just had a voice crack right there, shout out to you guys. I think the jury is still out on Kevin O'Connell. Listen, he won 13 games last year for this Vikings team. We had a very solid offense. I think he's a very creative head coach, and I think he's a genius offensive mind. Like, you can't take that away from him. But again, the Vikings did win 11 one-score games last season. And if we see that revert, and maybe the Vikings are 6-11 this year, and with all that talent they have on offense, and you only put up 17 points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with TJ Hockenson, Christian Jerisaw, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison looks legit. He looked great yesterday. All I'm saying is I think the jury may still be out on Kevin O'Connell. I was all in on him going into this year, but I think we need to kind of update our thoughts and update our takes on our head coach. Before we get into more overreactions from the Vikings' embarrassing Week 1 loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I want to give a huge shout out to our new sponsor, Game Time. And if you guys download Game Time and use the promo code VikingsChat, you guys will get $20 off your purchase. Listen, it should not be stressful when it comes to time to buy tickets to your favorite sporting event, music show, comedy show, or anything you guys like to do. It should be a stress-free process, and that's where Game Time comes in. Game Time is great. My friends and I in the Chat Sports offices, we went to go see North Carolina, South Carolina a week and a half ago, and Game Time made this process incredibly easy. We got a great deal, and we were actually able to look exactly where our seats were in the stadium. That's why I love Game Time. And if you guys use this promo code right here, VikingsChat, you guys will get $20 off your purchase. Hey, listen, we got Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers coming in the U.S. Bank Stadium, Week 3 of the NFL season. I would love to go to that game. And if you guys would too, I would use Game Time. And if you guys use that promo code right there, Vikings Chat, you guys will get $20 off your purchase. And then, hey, we also have another good quarterback coming in the U.S. Bank Stadium in Week 5, Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. If you want to see the reigning Super Bowl champions take on Kirk Cousins and your Minnesota Vikings, you guys got to get hooked up with Game Time today. Buying tickets for your favorite events shouldn't be stressful whatsoever, and that's where Game Time comes into play. I think it's an incredible app, and I use it any single time I want to get tickets to a sporting event, live music, whatever it is, comedy show. They have it all on Game Time, and you guys need to get hooked up. So if you guys use this promo code right here, Vikings Chat, you guys will get $20 off your purchase. You guys can go see the Vikings play at U.S. Bank Stadium any given Sunday this season. One more time, use the promo code Vikings Chat for $20 off your purchase. I'll make sure to put that link for you guys in the description and the comment section on today's video. Number 3 for me, I think this defense took a big step. I'll go positive right now. I know everybody's freaking out. You know, we lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. But I will say, I do think the defense took a big step. And the number one thing I loved out of yesterday was just the overall intensity and just the aggressiveness aggressiveness that they played with. Kevin Seifert had a great tweet. He covers the Vikings for ESPN, and he said, as advertised, the Vikings blitzed on 47.2% of dropbacks yesterday in Flores' first regular season game, highest rate of any team so far in week one. Then he also made this key point. He said, for wise advice, or FYI, he said the second highest rate was 42.6 by the Buccaneers. They came after Kirk Cousins. But this is great. I mean, going from Ed Donatel, where you're never blitzing at all, you're dropping 8 in the coverage, to now go to Brian Flores, where it's you're pinning your ears back, you're making the offense make some plays. I love the whole mindset that they had trying to stop this Buccaneers offense. And overall, I thought they did a pretty good job. Listen, I mean, they only put up 242 yards of total offense. If you would have shown me this stat line heading into the game right here and said this is what the Vikings defense is going to do, I would have said they would have won by 2 touchdowns. Like, if you would have held them to 2.2 yards per carry, only 169 passing yards, 3.6 yards per play, like, I would have said the Vikings, they would have blown the Buccaneers out. But the only negative of this defense yesterday was that 10-minute drive coming out of halftime where the Buccaneers went right up the field and took a 17-10 lead. That just can't happen, especially to the Baker Mayfield-led Bucs. Again, it's just concerning because the Vikings have a lot of good quarterbacks coming up, and Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes, those guys could definitely do a bigger number than what Baker did on this team. But I do want to tell you guys one thing. Hit that subscribe button. Listen, I know it did not go well in week 1, but I want to get all the mojo going into week 2. Heading into Philly, you can really turn your season around with just one win in the NFL. So sub for Vikings dubs. Don't jinx this football team. Go down there, hit that subscribe button. If you are new here on the channel, lock us in as your go-to Minnesota Vikings YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button. Don't jinx the kids. Number 4, right back to last season. The run game was non-existent. This was one of the more embarrassing attempts to run the football I've seen out of the Minnesota Vikings in a very long time. It just felt like they were going inside zone, run up the middle. And I get it. You want to run up the middle to suck the linebackers in on play action. You can take it over the top. I get it. But the Vikings had no success running the football yesterday. I was talking about the Buccaneers not being able to run the football. The Vikings ran for 2.4 yards a carry. 17 carries for 41 yards. And I swear to God, if I get one comment on this video about Dalvin Cook, and he's the reason we couldn't run the ball, I might block you from the channel. I'm so serious. It is not because of Dalvin Cook. It's because of the scheme. It's because of the interior of the offensive line. They kept trying to run behind Austin Schlottman and Ed Ingram when they're trying to block Vita Vea. Like, say what you want about the Buccaneers, and you think they're going to be a terrible team this upcoming season. They still got Devin White. They still got Vita Vea. Their front 7 is very, very aggressive and very, very talented. And the Vikings just played right into their strength, just over and over, going handoff middle. Or maybe, and on first down when they wouldn't go handoff middle, they would go tight end screen to freaking TJ Hockenson. Overall, I just thought the play calling for KOC was not that good yesterday at all. But number 5, you dug yourselves a hole. Obviously when you lose your home opener, it's going to hurt. And you're going to have to be kind of fighting an uphill battle for the rest of the year. But look at the Vikings' upcoming schedule here. I mean, you take the L week 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but then you're in Philly, and then you have Justin Herbert and the boys coming to town, and then you in Carolina. That should be a win, but anytime you're playing on the road in the NFL, it's going to be a tough matchup. And then you've got the reigning Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes coming into your building where they already dropped the game to the NFC North this year. I doubt they're going to want to do that again. Brutal schedule coming up here for the Minnesota Vikings. And if you were to circle one just guaranteed win out of all 5 of these games, would have been this one right here. And you ended up taking an L. But let's shift to some positive news and some rumors on the streets. Dalton Risner, he wants to be a Minnesota Viking. I don't even know why I put a question mark right there. You can lock it in. So Vikings fan page, he tweeted out at Dalton Risner after the game and said, "You still like purple?" And Dalton Risner said, "Been waiting," and it kind of blew up on the Twitter streets. And I'll say this, the Vikings absolutely need my man Dalton Risner. I've been pounding the table about this for signing him this entire offseason, but listen to me, Quasi. If you're serious about winning football games this year, you don't roll out Ed Ingram for 17 games this season. You go sign Dalton Risner, make some sort of switch up to this interior of this offensive line, because listen, the Lions have a good defensive line. The Niners do. The Cowboys do. The Eagles do. All these good NFC teams, that's what they're built off of, and we saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers expose this unit yesterday. I swear if I see Ed Ingram all 17 games this year without him taking a step up, I'm going to be absolutely furious. Go sign Dalton Risner. He's a veteran. He's a smart offensive lineman, and he wants to be here. He wants to be in Minnesota. He wants to help this team win, because if you add him in at the right guard spot, let's just say Garrett Bradbury comes back, I got 4 of the 5 offensive linemen I feel comfortable with rolling out every week. But if you put Ed Ingram in there, I just think it really, diminishes the rest of the play amongst the interior offensive linemen. But I'll throw it to you guys. If you're Kwesi, you're sitting there, you got Dalton Risner in your room, would you offer him a contract sheet? Should the Vikings sign Dalton Risner, give me an S for sign, or give me a P for pass down in the comments section. As always, thank you guys so much for watching today's show. Tough loss, Overreaction Monday. Obviously, we're going to get very passionate on videos like this. And if you guys disagree with me, or if you guys agree with me, tweet at me your thoughts at Pat Sieps. I'm going to put that link for you guys in the description and in the comment section of today's show. I'm hoping the Vikings bounce back week 2 in Philly. It's going to be here just like that. I mean, you only get a couple practices, then you got to travel, and then you got to go play the reigning NFC North champion or NFC champions. It's going to be a tough game, man. It's going to be a tough game for our Vikes. But I'm excited about it. Make sure you guys do give me a follow on Twitter, and we will see you guys next time. Go Vikes.